They're shooting at a Juneteenth celebration. I need you to watch this.
No, they shooting.
This nigga shot. Where's my brother? Oh, hell no. No. Shot him in the ring. He shot right here. He down.
Yeah, really a horrible scene there. Let's give you the details. For the LA Times, citing the Oakland PD, several people were wounded in that shooting. Happened Wednesday night at a Juneteenth celebration near Lake Merritt in Oakland. Crowd of about 5,000 had gathered around the lake for Juneteenth events, and someone opened fire in the 400 block of Grand Avenue about 8:45 p.m. Again, several people wounded. ABC7 with the details here. The events, not sanctioned by the city, according to police, were peaceful until a sideshow or illegal street takeover developed near the intersection of Grand and Bellevue Avenues. A fight broke out. As the crowd headed towards the altercation, multiple shots were fired, Oakland police said in a news release. LA Times filling in the gaps. We are celebrating. Began to be a sideshow, a couple of fights going on. Next thing we know, we thought that we heard fireworks. Mia Robinson told ABC 7KGO from the scene Wednesday night. What we did was we ran. Next thing you hear, boom, 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 boom from the other side of the lake. We're walking and my sister springs across the street and sees one of her friends laying out. Robinson alleged to KTVU her friend was shot and killed at the event. An unknown number of people were wounded. Authorities said officers at the scene treated some gunshot victims. Some victims rushed themselves or others to hospitals. Now, some of the officers received minor injuries in confrontations, according to police, with the crowd as they tried to move people to safety after the shooting. Reports note one person was arrested. Suspicion of assault on an officer, but no one has been arrested in connection with the shooting. Robinson also alleged to KTVU police used excessive force. So one arrest, an alleged assault on an officer. Oakland PD has also said it was not clear if there was more than one shooter and could not confirm any fatalities. This is, I guess, Fran, is heartbreaking, number one, that people who are celebrating this federal holiday, momentous occasion in American history, suddenly find themselves fleeing, shots fired, fights. I initially was thinking, oh, not sanctioned by the city. Was there enough that the city did to keep people safe as they would on the 4th of July or other things? And I don't have any information about that. It's just where my mind went. What do you hear in this one?
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
I was just gonna say that I think the OPD has a history of being far too violent with not just protesters, but people who want to gather for any manner of event in Oakland. I've been in Oakland, for example, when Trump was elected and we were on marching very peacefully and immediately got tear gas. So OPD not being on this is definitely not the problem. And if anything, it seems like they overreacted and clearly were using violence to combat what was already a violent situation. I just think that sadly, what happens is when there are a lot of guns littered throughout this entire country in every single community, and people get into heated arguments, this is what's gonna happen. And it is a total shame, you're absolutely right, that it happens on Juneteenth, which should be a celebratory event about freedom, about real liberation, and it should be looking toward the future. And I think part of that future is a future where we have a drastically demilitarized country, which means fewer guns in the hands of both civilians as well as police officers. Honestly, I'm not gonna say the OPD deserves to have more guns because they do not deserve that respect. From one California native, they don't deserve that. But I will say that they also don't deserve to be going up against people and communities that are armed. So what do? How do we avoid people being shot during a celebration around Lake Merritt, which is, I mean, I'm so glad that like children weren't hurt in this because or that it seems no one has died, although I heard sort of conflicting reports in that. But this is a residential area.
Yeah, and as a Black woman, member of the Black community, whenever something goes down at a quote unquote Black event, and by the way, Juneteenth should be an event for all Americans, not just for Black people to celebrate. I get it. We instantly become a little defensive here because it's happened before where someone has wanted to spoil an event that is viewed as one that is predominantly Black because, we can't get together and have a good time. This is who we are as Black people. We're violent, we're this, we're that. And you never know who's infiltrated or who's just up to no good. Again, no arrest. It is interesting to me, one arrest, I should say, but only because the police say someone assaulted them. It could be, but you have no information about how many shooters, no leads that we know of as of press time here. But you did make an arrest because someone you say, and the witnesses say the Oakland PD was rough with them, but Oakland PD says, no, someone assaulted us, so we had to arrest someone. Could be. But I am wary of that narrative, and I haven't seen it yet, but I haven't done much digging. And I just know in my heart of hearts and my experience, Fran, that it's going to be out there.
Yeah, this is one of those things that Fox News gloms onto, and it's like, see, Black people can't even be celebratory on this day of freedom and liberation. Ha ha ha. I mean, this is just, it's a setup for them, and I think it should be pointed out that there is gun violence in every single community, and that when honestly, if ever right-wing news outlets care about Black on Black crime, so to speak, it's always in the context of when we're actually talking about mass shootings, which are predominantly committed by white men. And so it's like, well, what about Black on Black crime? Well, no, we care about all of the crime. We care about all of the people who are being killed or being brutalized. And so it's just, I like to try to steer back to, again, the massive amounts of handguns and other guns in everyday people's hands, and how we scale that back.
Yeah. And it's interesting because if you just keep people divided, we never get to, the guns. More guns than the rest of the world.
Exactly.
How many guns per person? I mean, it's astronomical. And now the Supreme Court, from their perch, their grift perch with their robes, not everyone. Justice Sotomayor, Justice Jackson. We're not talking about everyone. There's the one guy, though, who got the free RV. I might be talking to him. Okay, I might be talking to Kavanaugh as well, foaming at the mouth. Remember that? What about you? Have you ever blacked out? So it's just so sad. Remember that? I'll never forget that. I just saw this frat boy in that moment. Are you actually, they're thinking about putting you on the Supreme Court, and I've never seen anything like it. Okay. Yeah. And then, Banks gets the robe and a little ceremony at the White House. And he's sitting there angry because somebody had the nerve to step up after all these years and say, what you did wasn't right.
Yeah, now they're allowing bump stocks. And pretty soon they're going to be ruling on a case that is basically will overturn a New York state law that says that those who've been convicted of domestic violence or have restraining orders against them will still be allowed to possess firearms, which is
devastating.
Once again, this is universal in terms of the communities that will be hurt by that. But specifically, women will be on the receiving end if that law gets overturned. So yeah, you're absolutely right. We're making it this country even shootier than it is.
Shootier. That's coin that. Okay, and put it on a t-shirt. Because a lot of people need to hear it. And by the way, Charlie Kirk, Juneteenth, the federal holiday, isn't the problem, okay? It's what she said. It's the guns. It's the shootier life we're living. America, look at your life. It's devastating. And I'm telling you, as so many domestic violence survivors, if they're lucky, are dreading what you just talked about, Fran, if that becomes a peel back, yet another one, another protection. Why should we protect women? Why should we protect children? We're fine. We need more guns, right? Only way to stop a gun is with a gun. Yeah, how's that worked out? Las Vegas. How many people had to die? How many were wounded? Nothing they could do to stop it. It happened so quickly. So many bodies. Orlando. Remember that? Okay. It's devastating.